Law enforcement preparing for a possible Trump indictment as early as next week.
Breaking news about security preparations getting underway for a possible Trump indictment in New York in the coming days. I want to bring in NBC's Laura Jarrett and NBC's Vaughn Hilliard, who is out.
As is the case with many instances, I still personally believe that this is yet another, like, oh my God, you know, this is just like lib shit, I think. But it's always fun. It's always fun to see libs get libbed up. It's always fun to see, like, the Republicans get very mad. So I am, once again, distancing myself, but also watching from afar and enjoying it from afar, you know? Just sit back and watch the shit unfold.
What do we know about these security preparations, Laura?
Chris, for quite some time, we've known that this investigation into the former president has reached an advanced stage. We've known that for days because, of course, his attorneys were notified that they would have the opportunity to bring their client in if they chose to do so. They're not choosing to do so in this case, but we can now report multiple law enforcement agencies, both at the state, local, federal level, are having discussions about potential security precautions in the event that there was to be an indictment of the former president. Now, we are not saying that charges have been filed. We are not opining on what those charges might be. But the fact that the law enforcement officials at this high of a level are having such discussions shows you that this has reached a significant milestone in the case. And the timing here is important. It is our reporting based off of 5 senior officials that this could happen as soon as next week.
So I don't want to ask you about this specific case. I don't want to go into any sourcing, but in a case like this, where they know it's high profile, when they know it will be security concerns, is there generally an open line of communication?
Oh my God. Republicans are going bananas mode on this, dude. Oh, that's so sick. Okay.
Between police, between other law enforcement agencies, and any DA, anybody who might be the prosecutor.
In the typical case, and we should mention this is not the typical case, but in the typical case, absolutely, there's an open line of communication. Of course, the DA's office relies on law enforcement every day in order to do its job, in order to execute search warrants. They have an open line of communication. Of course, in this case, it's different.
Fuck your experiment, dog.
Because we're talking about the former president of the United States. And again, I want to caution, we are not saying that he's been charged with anything, but of course, he has Secret Service protection. And so in the event that he was charged, it opens up a whole query of issues about how we might handle that. And so that is the reason that you see these preliminary discussions happening at this point.
Let's remind folks, because there are at least 4 major cases that are ongoing, what's involved here in the New York case.
The New York case, as we believe it to be, and again, we haven't seen anything, but we believe it to center on these hush money payments that were made before the 2016 election to Stormy Daniels, that were made by Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, former fixer, made to Stormy Daniels. And the question is whether those payments were accounted for correctly. Were they false business records? And if they were, can the Manhattan District Attorney secure an indictment on those false business records? Now, in the typical case, something like that would be a misdemeanor. You're not facing jail time. If the district attorney can figure out a way to make that a felony, it's obviously a whole different ballgame. But again, we don't yet know what exactly the charges would be. All
right, let me go to Vaughn at Mar-a-Lago, obviously there covering Team Trump. And he has been, actually, to mention Stormy Daniels, he's been on Truth Social about her in recent days, if not in recent weeks and months. And we know that he closely follows everything that is said about him, particularly on cable news. What would we expect, or would we expect some sort of reaction from Trump himself or Team Trump to this news?
Right, Chris, what we have...
My favorite thing is watching, like, conservatives who are literally just, like, borderline fascists, usually in the way that they, like, believe in the way that they demonstrate their politics, turn into, like, Angela Davis-style prison abolitionists the moment that Donald Trump gets any kind of legal scrutiny. They're like, are prisons supposed to be around? I mean, are prisons obsolete, really? We should maybe abolish the prison system, honestly. Why are we doing that? Like, that's, like, one of my favorite things to watch is all the, like, oh, we love our law enforcement. They should kill more poor people, as a matter of fact. Turn around and go, actually, ACAB 1312, and we need to just destroy prisons. What the fuck? Only for the January 6th. Exactly, which is awesome. I mean, it goes to show you that they just don't really want any of these things. They just want it they're fine with it when it's happening to their, political enemies. And, that's it.
We've heard from the former president himself has come in the form of videos posted to his Truth social media account here over the course of the last several hours this morning, in which he has derided the multiple investigations into him, including the Manhattan District Attorney's investigation into these alleged hush money payments made to Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 campaign. Now, we have no indication yet from Trump's counsel or his campaign or him himself that they have been notified of an indictment. And that is where I think it is important that we understand the process here. Right now, we ourselves at NBC News and everybody else is trying to get a better understanding of exactly where the district attorney's process is at right now. We in Lower Manhattan have seen no activity at the grand jury room where these witnesses, including Michael Cohen, have gone before these 16 to 23 jurors since Wednesday afternoon. That's when Michael Cohen left meeting with the grand jury after about 5 hours of testimony over the 2 days. But we did not see any activity at that grand jury room yesterday, have not seen any today. What does that mean? It means that, number one, the grand juries could have potentially even voted on charges that we're talking about here against Donald Trump. But it may not have come out in the form of an official indictment. The foreperson may have not signed this as an official indictment here. And that is where we may be talking about days, it could be weeks, or again, there may be no charges here at all. At that point, once the grand jury were to sign the indictment, then the district attorney would inform Trump's counsel. And this may all come in the form of a sealed indictment here, meaning that it's private, it is not public. And that is where some of these conversations could be existing. We don't know about those conversations at this time. And that is where this is an ever rolling process here to better understand whether the grand jury has completed its investigation or whether it could potentially convene next week. And, it could be hearing from.
I'm going to hold out hope. Like I said, I am of the mindset that wealthy people, powerful people rarely ever get any kind of scrutiny, any kind of punishment whatsoever in the United States of America. It's usually like a global concept with the exception of China, maybe. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be fun. It'd be fun if he did. It would be super sick if he went to jail. And then did a Eugene Debs style run from prison. You know what I mean? He would probably win. I could see him winning if he went to jail and ran from prison. I could see him winning. Like, so much sympathy for him. Like, these fucking people love being victimized. Bro, they've been on this arrest thing for 2 years and they haven't done shit. It's all cope. I mean, yeah. Nelson Mandela of white people is right. Exactly. And he would say that. His ass would say that. He'd be like, I'm just like Nelson Mandela, but he was bad. I'm good. They're attacking the whites, folks. Obama. He's the reason. The third. Okay, stop. I've been treated worse. Much worse than any other person running for the presidency. He would 100% win because he wouldn't be able to fuck up his own campaign by being a miserable sack of shit. They could curate the message however they want in order to get the W. I think he's at his best when he's doing his rallies. Let's be real. When he's doing his little goofy ass rallies, it's like me at the top of the hour. That's when I'm at my best, right? When I'm serving you a 3-minute ad break and then telling you that you can avoid those ads. Trump might not be able to avoid the prison sentence, but you can avoid the ads at the top of the hour by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub. Right on the dot, baby. That should be in your point consideration right there. But yeah, you can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. 813 Cenobite Girl, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Gioforio, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 Italians to no longer see the ads. 15 total. Jesus Christ, this guy said your mother dies in her sleep. That's insane. That's a new kind of psychopath. Kyle Marks, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. B. Arthur, thank you for the 5 gifted subs as well. That's a new one. I mean, I hadn't seen that one before. All right, let's continue.
From even future witnesses. There's a lot of outstanding questions that, because the grand jury has secret proceedings, we don't have the answers to right now, Chris.
Ariana, anything could happen, or is there a situation, Laura, where at least you can say with some certainty, typically, this is what would happen?
I think we can say typically the DA would not have gone this far only to pull back. But we should also say we're still in that phase where we haven't seen the charges filed. And so we should be careful about the speculation on that. I also want to point out that the district attorney's office, Secret Service, the NYPD, everyone has declined to comment. And so I also want to mention, this is based off of our reporting from our colleague at WNBC, Jonathan Dientz, who has 5 sources, and he is a seasoned reporter. But I want to make sure that we're on the record that those agencies have declined to comment.
What's going on? Trump's getting indicted, baby. Anyway, if you want to see like extremely normal takes on that, let's take a look at what Fox News is gearing up their audience for. And this is the morning.
We are learning.
This is the morning lineup. So the morning lineup, as you guys know, is like closer to like normal journalism and normal reporting. This is before we get to the fucking commentary later in the day. And the later it gets, the closer you get to prime time, the more unhinged and white supremacist it will get, as usually that is the case. So I can't wait for what like Tucker's going to say. Tucker's going to just say like, this is white genocide. They hate Donald Trump because he's the savior of white people. And he wanted to secure an existence for white children. Like Tucker Carlson's probably going to pop off with that, I assume.
That the Manhattan DA's office has asked for a meeting with law enforcement ahead of a potential Trump indictment. This is coming to Fox News from a source in the courts. The meeting, which was requested yesterday and has not been set yet, is to discuss logistics for some time next week, which would mean that they are anticipating an indictment next week. The same source who's familiar with the planning said they will go over security preparations in and around the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Secret Service will take the lead in what they will allow or will not allow. The source cautioned, mentioning, for instance, that the decision to handcuff the president.
I'm hearing ospreys. Is Brandon in California? That's interesting. I wonder, is he? He's in San Diego. Those were Apaches. Actually, they might not have been an osprey, but the president doesn't ride on ospreys. But when they do flyovers, this usually implies that the president's here. It's a new Chinese balloon. VODs lives in LA and they use those helis. Could it be a car chase? No, man. What? There is no. Yeah, they're using ospreys to track down fucking criminals. First of all, it's infinitely more dangerous to fly an osprey over fucking Los Angeles than it is to literally like directly drunk drive a car into off the 405 into like oncoming traffic, okay? The likelihood that that shit is going to explode and fall on top of civilians and kill a bunch of people is fairly higher, okay? So I doubt it.
A former president or not. They will set the tone and will escort him into the courtroom. There will be coordination between all of us, the source said, but we will defer to the Secret Service. The battle will be between Secret Service and DA Alvin Bragg. They will decide how and when he'll get into the building, and they are not going to leave him. The source believes that the former president will still have to be fingerprinted and processed like every other defendant. So this is a huge development if Alvin Bragg has decided to go ahead with a felony indictment of the former president. This was a charge that the federal officials refused to prosecute on or even really pursue. This was a misdemeanor in New York that Alvin Bragg has decided to elevate to a felony, while at the same time downgrading other felonies to misdemeanors. So we'll be watching this to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's not going to happen. He's not. I don't think that he gets perp walked, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. It'd be really cool if it did happen, but I doubt it.